rituals that already exist for women and to invent new ones as well. In many of the cultures in South Africa, and I'm sure it's probably no different here, yes, there's the period before a woman gets married where you get advice from other women in your family, you know, and they tell you how to be a good wife and what to do when you get into your husband's family and how to carry yourself, and a lot of it is patriarchal indoctrination. But I do think that there is tremendous power in female-centric spaces. I think there's tremendous power when communities of people with shared struggles and shared ideologies and shared identities close the room and say we are talking to each other. Like here, you know, we've closed the room and said we are talking to each other as Africans, as Pan-Africans, as Black people, all from all over the world. Here, what do we need to talk about when no one else is looking? I mean, with the exception of the people who have also been invited into the space. Welcome, white people, we are not erasing you, but you are also fully aware that you are in a Black space, right? So there's nothing wrong with women creating our own spaces to talk about our own stuff and to conscientize each other around the issues that affect us. Those premarital counseling rituals could become highly radical spaces. Imagine if women were counseled and told that you have the right to demand sexual pleasure in your marriage. Imagine if women were told that you have the right to leave this marriage if this person abuses you. Imagine if women were told how to protect themselves from violence or from sexually transmitted diseases, or told that there would be consequences if they were violated in any way in their marriages. So I think there's an opportunity for us to reimagine the spaces that already exist and subvert them, and also to create new spaces, or perhaps to even revive old ones. I'm thinking specifically around, you know, something like menstruation, right? There's so many women, you know, who are struggling with, and I mean, this is one of the beautiful things about existing in an era where there's so much access to information, right? Things like PCOS, fibromyalgia. I didn't know about these things, you know? We grow up and you experience so much suffering because of your body and the way that women's health and medicine has been marginalized, like historically, you know? Now we have all this access to information. What if we reimagined the menstrual rituals? What if we created celebrations for girls and boys who also happen to have uteruses, because we are living in a world where we must acknowledge and celebrate and create safe spaces for trans people and trans women and trans girls, right? So what if we celebrated the menstrual, the onset of menstruation, right? And created spaces where we could talk to people with uteruses about what is happening to your body and make it beautiful. It took me so many years to fall in love with my period, you know? It took me maybe 20, 25 years to really fall in love with my menstrual cycle and what it teaches me about my body. Men, you know, you'll suffer through whatever it is that they're saying. I know men become uncomfortable when we talk about periods, it's fine. So with people who have vaginas, you love vaginas. In other contexts, you will learn about vaginas. And even if we cannot do this in our real lives, as writers, as creatives, as people who exist in the realm of words and art, we can imagine this in our work. We can create the templates for this in our writing. I think the other side of what you were saying, you know, in terms of, you know, what happens in families when we start to confront patriarchy. Make no mistake, patriarchy and misogyny are very violent. This is very violent business that we are talking about. And when you start to confront it, it's like lifting the lid off of a pressure cooker, you know? You start to confront the structural violence of misogyny in a family, and you are confronting layers of, oh my God, time, okay. The girls who are going to wake up and call their fathers and their uncles bastards, more power to you. More power to you. And I wish you support systems in doing so. And I wish you the freedom to create the communities that you want to create. Family is not just about blood. Blood is important. It's absolutely important. Our ancestors are important. But it's also equally important to find communities of support for yourself. And if you cannot find that with the men we are related to, go and find other people of whatever gender to do that. If it means that you have to call your father a bastard to find the mental liberation to be able to do that, you know, so be it. So be it.
Hey, Rennie, I'm sorry. 2 minutes to